Diggs Nation.
Tonight, we're discussing, does hard work beat talent? On Peanut Butter Magic. Stay tuned.
It's the Peanut Butter Magic Show. It's the Peanut Butter Magic Show.
Welcome everybody to Peanut Butter Magic, the show where we talk about all things show business from an indie's perspective. I'm tonight's host. My name is Sway Low. And with me, I have my cohorts, Boss 10. What's good?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Everything's chilling, man. How are you?
Doing great.
Very good. And I got the homie Quase. What's happening, Quase?
What's up?
How's everything, man?
Shoot, hanging in there, man. Another day, another dollar.
You're looking very dapper there in your button down and whatnot.
Well, you know, what can I say?
You ain't trying to get that bread, is you?
I'm always trying to get that bread.
So how was your weekend, man? Everybody's weekend was good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What you drinking on, man?
Some cognac.
I saw a little froth on the top. Oh, that's nice. Okay.
It's just iced tea, man. Iced tea.
I got you.
He's like, cognac. I was about to say, yo, you going to be hammered by the time.
Right.
I was excited.
But tonight we're going to discuss, does hard work truly beat talent? You know, in my years of working in this business, being around people involved in this business and just kind of doing things from a show business angle, always trying to find the angle and whatnot, I've come across some talented people over the years, you know, where it's God-given, to where they never had no formal training, never went to school, never was around a lot of different influences. It's just, you know, they can pretty much imitate whatever they see or hear or something along those lines. And then
Thank you, Sway. That's very nice of you to say.
You're welcome.
Sorry.
And then there are others who have to work hard to attain the level of greatness that some people are born with. And those people are the people that get up early every morning with an agenda. You know what I mean? They go out and they execute whatever plans they have, or at least attempt to execute. You know, things don't always work out the way you anticipated, but they go out and they hustle and they grind and you know, eventually if they stick with it, you know, their dreams can happen and whatnot. So I posed the question to you guys: does hard work beat talent, or is God-given better? We'll start with you, Q. What do you think?
Technically, me,
Mm-hmm.
I think the hard work beats the talent.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think there's a missing issue in the middle. You know, there's an issue in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the ones that get stuff handed to them.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that changes everything. But yeah, I definitely think hard work beats talent.
Okay. So let's talk about the ones that are born into it, or, you know, royalty. Yeah, you know what I mean? Silver spoon type motherfuckers and shit. How do you think they have an edge?
Yeah.
Over more talent?
Yeah.
How so?
I think they have an edge over more talent and hard work, simply because things like, for us, that it took us years to get to, for them, it's handed to them. Whether it be music equipment, whether it be access to studios and everything they need. I mean, it's right there for them. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean they're good, you know what I'm saying? But they got it, they got everything right there. I mean, just look at all the the major record companies and their children, you know what I'm saying, that try to come out. I mean, they got to stand on their own once they do get out there. But there's a lot of them that ain't been that great, but had the greatest stuff behind them. You get what I'm saying? Versus people that's out there that's working hard. They may not have the talent, but they working hard to get to that point. And then that person that does have the talent might not work as hard. You get what I'm saying? So for that person it's given to them, hey, they got the easiest route, I think, me personally.
That's an interesting take. What about you, Boss Tim? What do you think?
I mean, I definitely agree. I think that people that, I mean, you always hear about the ones that showed up at the right place at the right time, or they had a relative who was already doing it, or whatever. And it seems like that opportunity that we're all looking for becomes easier for them. They're given access to what the hard workers are trying to get, or what the talented people fall right into. Whether or not they succeed is a whole nother topic, because a lot of people, I mean, they just suck, and you find out right away that they suck, and they don't last.
Right.
So that opportunity, I agree. I mean, it can make or break a lot of people, but I also think that people that work really hard, I think that they have an opportunity to shine more than the people that are really talented, because, you'll get like an artist who will put out a song and it's just the most beautiful thing you've ever heard in your life. But if they don't have a drive, I mean, you may never hear from them again.
Right.
But yet there's a band out there that's just kind of okay, but they're dropping albums every year, making a career. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's what I tell a lot of these young cats, man. They and there's some talented cats out here where we stay, as far as that's concerned, whether it be singing or dancing or producing or beat making or acting or whatever. There's a lot of talented kids, but they also think that that their talent will take them to great lengths. You know what I mean?
Right.
The talent to get you in the door is my opinion. The talent can definitely open doors for you, but what you do once you get in the door is completely up to you. Like, for instance, Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest basketball player that ever lived, arguably. He's got 2 sons, all right? He's got Marcus and he has Jeffrey. Neither one of them are in the NBA. Neither one. And their dad is arguably the greatest ball player that ever did it. Did they have opportunities to get themselves in a position to be in the NBA? Absolutely. They absolutely did. But like Boss said, they suck. So bad. They suck. And meanwhile, you got cats like Steph Curry, whose dad was Del Curry, played for the Charlotte Hornets. And his dad was a great 3-point shooter, just like Steph. I think it's more pressure on kids that have a leg up.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. All eyes are on them.
Yeah,
You're expected to be a part of greatness. And when you fall from that grace, or when you can't measure up to what people's expectations are, it can be damaging.
Right.
For sure.
But they just got better access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, do you guys consider yourselves talented, hardworking, both, or neither?
I'm going to say both. And I struggle on both sides.
The same thing here. I mean, because I say that because it's a learning process for me, you know, even being at the age I am. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
And for years, I went just trying to be the artist or just, you know, it really wasn't about the hustle side.
Mm-hmm.
So the hard work wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? It was more me doing something that I enjoy to do. But things are changing.
Yeah. And we came up in an era, Q, where a lot of times people that were our influences would tell us to focus on your craft.
Right.
Focus on one thing and get it together. And then you move on to do this, that, and other. And now we live in an era to where you gotta be everything.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know, so I never paid those people any attention. I never did. Because I knew if I didn't learn how to make beats, I wouldn't have any records.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
so therefore, I gotta make these beats if I sat around and just focused on singing, wouldn't have no songs.
Right.
Because when we got started, there weren't no like producers. Like we was on some learn on the fly type shit. You know what I mean? You know, I became a producer because my producer went to college.
Right.
So I was forced to have to do it. You know, or somebody had to do it. It had to be done. You know. So I don't agree with that focus on one thing. And I'm glad that kids these days aren't just focusing on one aspect.
Right.
I went to Charlotte last summer and I met this artist. And she was like, well, what do you do? And I was like, you know, I guess a better question is, what don't I do? You know what I'm saying? And she was like, well, and she came at me with that logic. Well, I think it's best for me to just be a singer. And I was like, then your ass ain't gonna eat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, you do what you want. I'm not here to try to convince you one way or the other. But you're not gonna have many meals thinking like that. Trust me. You know what I mean? So, you know,
I think the industry has changed so much that she'll never survive. Because like there's no more, well, I'm sure it still exists a little bit, but that plan where the record labels just throw a bunch of money at somebody and go make me a hit. And then they find that person who can sing and they find that person who can write and they pay them a little bit of the money and then keep the rest. I think those days are almost over.
Oh, without
everybody's making hits at home.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Just like you, by themselves, making the beat, writing the song, recording, mixing, mastering, distributing, selling. I mean, you can do everything.
Yep. Like artist development is like becoming extinct.
Yeah.
Because a lot of artists are coming into it ready to go.
Right.
Ready to go. I tell these kids, you know, people are getting up 5 a.m. while you sleeping all day talking about you want to make it. This kid's approaching it with no deal like they have one.
Right.
They're outworking you. And it doesn't matter how well you put your bars together. They're outworking you.
Yep.
You know.
Well, and I think that talent is kind of a misunderstood word in general. Like I don't think that like Adele is a one of a kind.
Right.
Like she's got a beautiful voice, and I'm not trying to downplay anything that she does.
Right.
But I don't think that her vocal cords were designed any differently than anyone else's vocal cords. I think that for whatever reason, at whatever time in her life, she sang and it worked and she stuck with it and it's a muscle. So I think that she probably wasn't out recording and singing shows with, you know, thousands of people there, but she was probably in the backseat of her parents' car singing. She's probably out at the playground singing.
Yep.
She was just learning. And as she got older, she became great. And we hear her voice and go, oh my gosh, she's an angel. No one sings like that. Well, no one's probably dedicated their life to that. And that's why she is incredible at what she does. And I think that everyone has that ability to do so. If you dedicate yourself and time, you may not hit the same type of note she does because we all have different voices.
Right.
You know, like some people would be a bass, some people would be a treble, You know what I
Right.
mean? And you just have to excel in whatever your capabilities are. But I think hard work develops talent, and I think that we kind of misplaced that hard work that brought us to when we got heard. You know what I mean?
That's an interesting point. That is.
Now, I don't think everybody could. I don't care how much hard work they put into it.
Yeah,
Some-
you have a point there. but
Yeah, it's some
I hear
people-
you out.
Yeah, it takes more than just hard work and practice, especially when it comes to singing. And we've been around singers a lot, and I don't care how much somebody can practice and sing. If they do not have that ear, it's over, man. I mean, I've heard some people even like after the first couple of notes, it's like,
Yeah.
They don't even understand any of it. So I don't know. I think some people, I do believe some people that are not singers can be taught to sing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I hear.
Yeah, I definitely believe that. But there's some people, no matter how much you teach them, they just can't sing.
Yeah.
It's just like some people can't cook. You can teach somebody how to cook, but if they don't understand the concept of a pinch of salt or a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and they just feel like, well, if I add this and I add that, what if I put some sugar on the steak? It should taste sweet and good. Nah, it don't work.
Right.
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 So if they don't understand even the slightest concept, they.
But I think that's something you can learn.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And there's a lot of hard-headed people out there for sure. I've been in the studio with Sway when he's tried to direct people from outside the booth, because you hear a different perspective when you're not the one producing it.
Right.
And I've heard him repeat and repeat and repeat, and they just never get it. And what do you do with that? And I definitely agree that not everybody has it in them. I think that if everyone dedicated their time to become a vocalist and they listened and they practiced and they learned, then I think that everyone has potential. But I think that's where talent comes from, because there are painters out there that just paint the most amazing works of art, and we sit back and stare at them in museums for hours and try to pick out every little thing that they came up with. But it's because that person picked up a paintbrush one day and went, this is where my energy goes. And over time they made something incredible. And some people do pick up color combinations better than others, but that's because their interest is there. They see that. They want that. Whereas you might go, I'll just never figure this out. And it's because you don't care. And there's nothing wrong with that. You do this and they do that. And that's why we have multiple opportunities for people.
Yeah. And I go back to our story, boss. When I first met you, like, you didn't have a camera, but your desire was so incredible. I think that's what mostly drew me to you, was the fact that even though you had like no tools at the time, the passion to even the way you dreamed about it, or the way you discussed it, the way you talked, the way you approached everything even before the camera, I saw it in you right away. I did. And then you got a camera, and then the real work began. You know what I mean? Like, and you weren't the most talented person I'd ever met when we first started hanging out. But again, hard work. You worked hard at it. You saw that that's something that you really wanted to do, and not only wanted to do, but you wanted to be good at it. And by the time we came back together, you were so good, so much better than you were when we parted ways. It was crazy. It's great to work with talent, like talented people. It's great when they're motivated. You got a talented person that's really in there with you. That you guys are in sync. The chemistry is there. There's nothing like, who wouldn't want to work with LeBron James every single day? You know what I'm saying? Who wouldn't, man? Who wouldn't? But when you got LeBron James talent with Pookie work ethic.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's too much of a headache. And I've been in instances to where you keep wanting to give the guy with the talent the most chances
For sure.
because it's easy. You know, they make it easy for you to get the work done. You know.
You see the potential.
Yep. You know what I mean? But then after a while, you get so tired of the shenanigans, man, to where you just like, you know what, man, as talented as you are, it's just not freaking worth it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not worth the headache, man. You know. And you hope that they get it at some point. Like, you know, I know I got all these skills, but ain't nobody really fucking with me. Why?
Right.
You know.
I think drive is the most important key to being successful.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. Like, that's why they don't stop. They keep starting up all these companies and buying all these companies, and those companies are growing, you know, tenfold. And it's that drive, you know, to never quit, to never give up, to just keep winning. And sometimes they fail, you know, like I'm not a big Trump fan by any stretch.
Right.
But a lot of when he was running, a lot of people were like, well, look at all these businesses that he's failed and have went under and blah, 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 blah. And I completely understand all the points they were trying to make. But what I saw was somebody that just kept investing their money to win. And they failed a lot of times. And everyone knows the reasons why those, you know, businesses failed. We all know. But he just kept trying.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that it's that drive. That's why people are successful.
Yeah.
They fail, they fall right on their face, but they just keep going.
Oh yeah. Now, can you win and be a nice guy? Do nice guys truly finish last?
Yeah. I think so. It takes a certain kind of person to stand on top of the throne. You know, like Steve Jobs, man. I think Steve Jobs was probably just an asshole all the way around. No one's ever depicted him as being somebody you want to hang out with.
Right. Or Bill Gates and his
unless you're
nerdy
creating.
I bet he's a tyrant, son.
Oh, he's got to be.
Because they ain't got to, they don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
They got other people to deal with it.
That's right.
Now, when they show their faces, like,
no, it's like tighten up.
and then they turn around. Hey, take care of that.
You know. Yep. But I say all the time, you can't be king and be loved by everybody.
Right.
That's right.
I say that all the time and whatnot. You got there's a bit of assholeness that goes along with it. Like an old friend popped up into my life a couple of weeks ago. And we were talking, and you know, I might have shared this story with you guys, but she was telling me that she was a playwright. So when she said that to me, immediately my mind went into showbiz mode. I'm like, all right, what have you done? What you know, this, that, and other. What's your goals? Because she was like, I like to have your help in doing stuff. And then she was telling me where she was and stuff like that, and this, that, and the third. And, you know, so I'm giving her the rundown like she knows what the fuck she's talking about, or she's had some experience or something along those lines, and she started accusing me of being mean to her. And I'm like, gee, if you can't handle me, your ass ain't a playwright. I was like, yo.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was like, you know, you and I have not signed a contract or anything. Imagine if somebody gave you $5 million for your play.
Right.
You think they're just gonna hand you a check and be like, all right, then holler at you. They be ready to kill your motherfucking ass if you don't pull off the job. You know what I'm saying? So if you can't handle me, you can't handle being tied up in the back trunk of a Bentley, being taken to the East River in Harlem, New York, either. Stay on the porch. Stay on the porch. Because I'm easy. I'm the pre-show.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When you get to the big show, yeah.
Yep. That's why you hear about in Hollywood, like all these movies that in the middle of production, they fired the person in charge and brought somebody else in. Or the production just kind of went to the wayside. And when it finally came out, you could tell it wasn't even finished. It's because somebody wrote a multi-billion-dollar check, and that person that got it, they had too much heart into it. They couldn't stand back and handle it from a business side, and they lost.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, needless to say, I don't think she's quite prepared for yet. That's not to say that she won't get there. But today, she's definitely not where I need her to be. In order for you, if you're telling me you're a playwright, there's certain things I expect. You know, I just tell me you wrote some plays for church. You know what I'm saying? But don't try to pass yourself off as Shonda Rhimes, because I'm gonna approach it like that. So
Right.
And it ain't personal, it's business. But if you take it personal, it's your problem.
Yeah.
So, but I like hard work. I tell everybody I'll work anybody underneath the table. You know, because sometimes I'm not the most talented guy in the room. You know, so my work ethic will outshine anybody. Even if I am the most talented guy in the room, I'm still gonna outwork you. Still. Because that's just another feather in my cap.
Right.
Not only am I more talented, but I'm gonna bust my ass harder than you will too. I want that job. Has there ever been a moment where any one of you guys have faced someone more talented than you are and you kind of prevailed in the end?
That's every day. That's all the time.
Talk about it.
Yes. Let's see. I wear many hats.
Right.
And take for instance, me going out. I mean, I love music. I do music, but I can build shit too. And so me going to get some price to have something done, and they hit you with it's gonna cost you this much, that much. What? Yeah, because it's gonna take this and that. Nah, not really. I'm gonna figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And then build something better than what they had built. That's a true story. That actually happened. Because I had a guy I asked him about it, and he was telling me all he was gonna have and all he needed. But when they quoted me a price, well, it was two things. He quoted me a price, which was ridiculous. But then he kind of slowed around with getting back to me on it. And but like I said, I took it into my own hands. Let me try to do this myself. And then I did it myself. And he actually commented on what I did. So
oh wow.
Yeah. You know, I told you about it. I hate to say it on here because I'm sure they're gonna watch this episode. But yeah, that actually happened. So I say I'm kind of a hard worker. I don't give 110% at all. It's according on what it is and what I'm doing. If it's a certain project, I'll give my 110% if it's a certain project or whatever. But I don't know. It goes back to previous other shows that we had. You know, right now I'm in a space where I'm kind of all over the place. So, but once I do put my heart into doing something, I will give my 100%. So it's just according on what the situation is and what I'm doing. But for myself, not so as much, I guess. You know, we've had conversations about that. I tend to slack on myself for some reason, a lot. So, hey, I'm okay. I can admit it. I recognize it. I see it. But if I give myself 100%, it probably sky the limits to what I could do.
That's
don't
the
know.
key right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm my own worst critic and enemy.
You consider yourself a competitor, boss?
No,
No?
Yeah, me neither.
I don't have an ounce of competition in me. I don't care.
Really?
No, I just want to do. I don't care about winning. That's why I never did good in sports. Like, we'd show up. I played baseball for several years before I finally gave it up, because I would show up to the game and everyone's like, we got to win. We got to beat the other team. Go out there and kick ass and blah, blah, blah. And I don't care. I'll go out. I'll do my best. I'll swing. I'll try to hit it. I was a catcher, so if someone stole a base, I'd try to throw them out. Or, when the moment got tough, I'd play my part. But I mean, win or lose, I don't care. I got to go out. That whole thing where your parents, when you're a kid, they're like, just go out and have fun. And everyone's like, yeah, we're not going to have fun. We're going to win.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I just want to have fun.
Right.
I don't know.
But winning is fun.
Winning is fun, and it does feel good to win, and it does feel bad to lose. But at the same time, if I just came out here to play and I got to play, that's all I really cared about.
Yeah. I played on a bunch of winning teams as a kid. I never played on a team that didn't win. Like, in all the sports that I played as a kid, we came in first to second place, all in pretty much football, baseball, basketball. Those were the three sports that I mainly played. And I remember baseball, we came in second. Football, we went to the Super Bowl. Basketball, we were undefeated.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, no.
I've also always been on losing teams.
I see. I see.
I mean, like, for real.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
when I was a kid, like, we would win in the beginning, and then as I got older and kids would go off and do other things, the team players would switch out all the time. So it'd be like me and another guy, and then a whole new team. And then the next year, there'd be like me, that other guy, one or two other people, and then everyone else was a whole new team. Because everybody was we're young, you're going out doing different things. And,
Right.
So by the time it got serious and I realized that I didn't care, I just walked away.
Right.
That's all I was saying.
We played. I played on a lot of winning. All my teams won. I don't remember ever going home and being like, we didn't always win the championship. Even when we went to the Super Bowl, we lost, but we went, and it was in Atlanta. And I remember I was maybe 13 or 14. It was Thanksgiving weekend. They took us down in a bus. We stayed in a hotel, and we were 12, 13, 14 years old playing in like arenas, stadiums. I mean, we got our ass handed to. We lost like 45-0. We didn't even score, but we were good enough locally to get to that point. You know what I mean? Like, even like talent shows, I always top 3 somewhere most times. And even if I didn't win a talent show, someone always approached me afterwards and be like, yo, let's do something, or something along those. I see the potential in you. I want to do something with you on my own, or let's do something privately or something along those lines.
Right.
Moved to New York, never in 10 years, never paid for any studio time. That never happened, because everyone I met wanted to work with me. So it was like very competitive. And I'm a rapper too, so that's a competitive sport,
right,
within itself. You want to be, slice and dice with your wordplay and your lyrics and your similes and metaphors. Like you rap to compete. I'm the best. That's pretty much what basically every rapper that's ever lived has ever said at least 50 times
per album.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
every rapper is I'm the best.
Right. Yeah, you know what I mean? Right. And I tell rappers all the time, like, when you're rapping, because some rappers run out of breath and they trying to say all the words, and I tell them all the time, cut out the word I. That'll save your breath, because we know you're talking about yourself. You ain't got to tell me I'm this and I'm that. I'm the best that ever did it. You just say the best that ever did it. It'll fit better. You'll be able to breathe. We know you're talking about you. You know what I mean? You know. You know.
Yeah, I remember. I don't want to say who it was, but I've been in the studio with you and somebody was rapping and you pulled them out and you were like, you were saying way too much. You ain't got to
Right.
say all that. Cut out half that shit. And we'll still get the same
Yep.
point.
Yep, I tell them all the time. Because like you said earlier, they're so far on the inside to where they can't see. So we give them perspective from the outside.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's
Make
right.
that happen. You know.
Singers make songs for people to hear. But I think a lot of times when you're in there singing, you don't hear what those other people are going to hear.
Mm-mm.
You just know what you want it to sound like. But that may not be the sound that other people get.
Right.
You know? But that goes back to, I think what Mike was saying is that you just got to, you can get handed an opportunity or you can go out and work hard for it. And either way, you're still going to get there if you don't give up.
Yeah.
Right. I never did. It never was competitive growing up for me. I mean, I wasn't into sports. I was a big nerd, so
Yeah.
I wasn't into sports. My family wasn't competitive. I just was never around like competitive. Now, more so, I've tried it. I tried baseball, softball, football, basketball. I tried, but yeah, that wasn't my place. You know what I'm saying? I dribble like this.
But I don't want you to think that competition is only in sports.
Oh no.
You know what I mean?
Competition is in everything, really.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
So
I don't know.
there's no killer instinct inside of you whatsoever about anything. You don't have the Mamba mentality about nothing.
No, not really. In certain things, but not when it comes to, I don't know, for me, it's more of the knowledge part. You get what I'm saying? It's more of the knowledge part and the trying part. To me, it's failure not even to try.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So for me to get off in somewhere and do something and maybe not win, but I'll do good enough to where they gonna know who I am regardless. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And to accomplish that is enough within itself. You get what I'm saying? I mean, don't get me wrong, everybody wants to win, but I mean, that's just like lottery players. You know, you play the lottery all day long, but you may not win anything. But for that person that does play, maybe one day it will come because they're playing. But for the person that is not playing the lottery, they can't sit there and say, people waste their money. You'll never win. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
How you know you don't play?
Right.
So I don't know. For me, I get what you're saying, the competitive part. But for me, it's not about winning. I mean, I would like to win, but if I don't win, I'm still good. You get what I'm saying? Because I tried. I'm in there. Like right now, I do music. Been doing music forever. But have I ever been on the charts? No, not really. But I'm still able to make music no matter what. And so for me, that says a lot. You know what I'm saying?
See, my biggest competitor, I think, is myself.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Like
me.
Whenever I do something, like let's say I shoot a film, and I'll watch it, and I want people to like it. I do. I want other people to want to see it, or if they do watch it, I hope that they learned something or enjoyed it or whatever. But when I'm watching it, I'm just watching everything that I did. Like, you know, when I'm on set, I'm working with the actors. You know, if we've got location or costume designers or all that stuff gets done beforehand, so I know what it's going to be going in. But when I'm sharing it, I'm just looking at what I did. And when I do my next film, I know everything that I hated about my last film, and I focus on those aspects. And so I'm constantly in competition with myself. But like, if other people are making films, I don't hope they suck, or I don't hope that mine's better than theirs. Like,
Right.
I don't really care about all that stuff. I just want to make sure that what I've done exceeds what I did, on the previous work.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how I tackle everything. There's stuff that I'll do. Like I remodeled upstairs. This is outside of film. But I like remodeled upstairs, and there's a spot in the drywall that cracked, and I'm just looking at it like, God damn, why did you do that?
Right.
Right.
Like I know why it did that, and I know the corner that I cut that brought me to now. Here we are, moved in, painted furniture in the room, and I've got like a 3-inch split in the drywall. I know why I did that, and I know that I did that, and I know what I could have done to do it better, but I cut a corner, and now I'm looking at it at the end, and that's my competition, because I should have done better than that.
Right.
And then when I moved down here to the basement, and I remodeled the basement during COVID, there's not a single crack in any of the drywall.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And it's just because I did something, and I've never done something to that scale before, and I did it, and I know where I screwed up at, and I got to the next one, and I said, I'm going to have a whole nother list of problems with my work in the basement, but none of this drywall is going to be a problem.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's my competition is with myself. Always be better.
That's me. That's me. I always want to outdo myself, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Mike talks about my big productions all the time.
That's because they sound so big.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, right. But I want to be like Barry White. I ain't gonna front. Like Barry White is one of my biggest inspirations, and he's like, the way that he produces is, I strive to be Barry White-esque with my records and whatnot. That's where all that Isaac Hayes, those two guys are as far as producers are concerned, I really admire. So but I'm always in competition with myself to do better than I did the last time. Even if I'm the only one that hears the record, I always strive to be better than I was the last time with myself.
Right.
But on stage, I'm even more of a competitor, because like, if I'm the type that I can go on stage first, I can go on stage in the middle, I can go on stage last. If I go on stage first, I'm setting the bar. If I go on stage in the middle, I'm raising the bar. And if I go on stage last, I'm knocking that motherfucker down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter to me. If a group goes on before me and they kill it, the whole time I'm backstage, I'm thinking, I got something for their ass. And I don't even know these motherfuckers. I don't even know them, but my goal is for the audience to forget everything they just did. Forget about that. I'm here now.
Right.
Let's go. You know what I mean? It's just that competitive nature. Rap and sports and singing and talent shows and all those things, man. I'm ready to destroy you, and it ain't personal. It's just who I am.
That was one thing that I always picked up on with Evolution, is whenever you guys were performing or we were shooting a video or whatever was going on, everyone is there together. So you're all seeing each other's performance, and you could plus or minus a few of the members of the team, you could see the growth of the energy throughout the either production or the performance.
Right.
Someone would go out on stage, or you guys are all out there, whatever song starts, you got a performer, everybody's interacting with each other. Maybe somebody's kind of off doing their own thing. When the next verse kicks in, if they're not one of those plus or minus members of the other team, they would step it up to the next level, right?
Yeah.
And Suede usually had the third verse or the hook.
Yeah.
So it was always on the third verse. You'd see Josh doing whatever he's going to do. You'd see Luke doing whatever he's going to do. You see the other members kind of mingling in and out. And you could see Sway was sitting over there like, all right, they did this, I'm going to do that.
Here we go.
And then he would kill it. And he did it every time. You can
Every
go back
time.
and watch any Evolution video, and I promise you that's the structure.
He's right. He's right. Johnny T called me the utility guy. But that's my goal. I remember the first time we rocked at Columbia State. It was for that MLK program. I don't know if you were a part of us back then, Brandon, or not. Were you there for that?
Nah, the first Columbia State thing that we did together was Build the Dream.
No, we had a show at the smaller theater at Columbia State. We had a show at the smaller theater. It was around MLK.
Okay.
They invited us to come and do MLK. Now, there was a headlining act that went on after us. We were the next to the last act that night, but we had one of the longest sets. I think our set was maybe a half hour or so.
Yeah, I remember this.
And that whole business. So we wore the baseball jerseys and did that whole thing and we rocked that joint out, man, crushed it. And then the guy that had headlined the show was like, they're gonna be a hard act to follow and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, give it up for them.
Yep. The energy of the crowd went.
Yep. But I'm that guy. I want people to talk about what Swalo did the next day.
Yeah.
When they see me. I want them. That motherfucker Swalo, man. Did you see the bullshit he was doing on stage? That motherfucker's insane. Like, yeah, that's what I want. That, but I guess that's the competitor inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's what we expect when we go see a performance too. You know, like I want every single act to act like they're closing the show.
Mm-hmm.
I want the opener to act like they're closing the show. I want the middle person to come in and act like they're closing the show. Mm-hmm. And then the closer better act like they're closing the show. You know what I mean?
I don't even know why anybody wouldn't want to act like that if you're getting the opportunity. You're shortchanging yourself.
Of course. We're here to see you perform. Yep. That's the whole reason I bought a ticket to come sit in this place. Mm-hmm. If you're not performing, yeah, you're shortchanging yourself. Now I don't want to see you anymore.
Right.
Yep.
You're not going to get my money.
Yep. Yep. And that's where the hard work beats the talent.
Right.
You know, that's where, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Big shout out to BC. You know, BC. Yeah, big shout out to him. I'm going to tell you something about that kid.
Is this the Christian rapper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kid on stage is an animal. You know what I'm saying? Like he is, and he don't do a whole bunch of movement. But the way he can move a crowd or control a crowd with just the little bit that he does, his tongue game is insane. You know what I mean? As far as like getting the crowd to do what he wants them to do, command, like throw your hands in there. Like he has a gift to do that and make that happen. Same with Mr. Clean. Mr. Clean, not quite like BC, but Mr. Clean works harder on stage than BC does. If I had to choose between the two, I'd say BC had more talent, but Mr. Clean has more heart. And I'm going with Clean every time. I'm going with my guy. Because I know although BC is going to raise an eyebrow, Mr. Clean is who you're going to talk about when you go into your car.
Right.
That's the difference. That's the difference right there.
Right.
That. So.
But I think if you took BC out of that element and put him in another element, you know what I'm saying? If he was a street rapper, I think he would be a beast.
He's still a beast.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a beast, but I'm talking about where there's no restraints to, you know, subject and different things, you know, was in a different.
But that's just genre. It. When you're live, there are no restraints.
Right.
So he should be free to be free. And he's great. I'm not shortchanging BC.
Yeah,
he's wonderful to watch live. I enjoy watching BC do what he does on stage. I do. He's just not Mr. Clean. And if I had to choose him, if I had to choose between the two, BC may have more talent, but Mr. Clean is Dennis Rodman.
I guess.
You know what I'm saying? He is that. He's gonna give it to you every single night.
Yeah.
Just with that energy, every single night. He's gonna outwork you. He's gonna do that.
Too bad he gave up music.
Well, I had a discussion with him about a month ago.
I'm just saying that in case he watches. Still waiting for Purify. That's all I'm saying. But BC, man, like I went to high school with him. He's a year older than me.
Yeah.
And I can remember 3 talent show performances from all the years that I was there. And he's 2 of my top 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he did one of his own songs, I think his senior year,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't know, senior or junior. I'll get them mixed up. But then he did a Linkin Park cover too.
Yeah.
And I mean, he nailed it both times.
I know.
The only guy that beat, I don't even know who won, but the only one that stands out is this guy did an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression on stage, and I'd never seen that before, and it killed. Like that was the performance that everyone talked about.
Yeah.
But as far as music goes, BC's got 2 of my top 3.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of my best.
I used to book him like whenever Evolution would do those kind of shows. I would call him and be like, "Yo, you want to come rock with us tonight and do that whole bit? This crowd is kind of good for you. You want to rock? You know?"
Right.
We weren't necessarily friends. We weren't enemies, but I didn't take time to get to know him. But game recognized game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I wasn't gonna let the fact that we weren't homies, you know, get in the way of us winning together and doing that whole business. And he was game more often than not.
Yeah.
You know, he was game to rock with us. I think he liked you guys. I think he did.
Does he still do music?
No, I don't think so.
I haven't heard his name since I moved away.
Me and him actually did a song together. Believe it or not.
Yeah, we got one. He's on Cold Black. BC's on the Cold Black album.
The last time I seen him, I seen him one day. He was with his, I think he's married now.
That. Yeah,
he's married. I almost didn't recognize him though. I was like, damn, BC. Yeah, he's cool though. But he didn't say whether or not he was still doing music or not, but I don't believe he is.
I went to his Instagram. He might be.
Is he?
He might. I can't say that he's out of the game. I can't. Looking at his Instagram, I can't say.
Right.
I can't say that he's in the game either, but I can't say that he's not. You know, it's like he can pop back in at any time type. That's the vibe I got going to his Instagram.
Yeah.
As far as that's concerned, he may not be active right now, but that's not to say that he don't got nothing cooking.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but big shout out to him, man. He's definitely a talented guy. He's probably one of the more talented people around here. Yep. You know what I mean? But I'm going with Mr. Clean every single time. Every time I'm going with him.
That's because whenever he gets off stage, it looks like he just came out of a sauna.
Yep. And if that's reason number 1.
Yeah,
you know
I mean,
what I'm
for real.
saying?
For real.
That's reason number 1. You know he gonna put that work in.
Yeah.
You know
like
he is.
He's jumping around. So Sway's remastering that old Evolution album, and it's gonna come out at the end of the year.
No, it's coming out end of the month.
End of the month. My bad. End of the month. So I've been digging up old like Evolution stuff, trying to come up with some things that we can drop with it. And I found our Build the Dream DVD, and we didn't film it. That was like a fan brought a camera in and filmed it for us.
Right.
And then at the end of the show, he came up and was like, "Hey man, I filmed that whole thing. Do you guys want a copy?" Yeah. And so I watched the whole show, man. Josh is jumping up and down. He's like rolling in circles on the ground performing. He would he would run around the back, and then when the hook started, he'd run into the front of the stage, drop to his knees. He's got shorts on, and he'd slide in and start performing. And then he'd get up and run off stage. And then when his verse started, he'd run back in and slide again and start performing again.
I'm telling you.
You can't match his energy, man.
No. And that's night after night after night after
every single show.
it's consistent that way.
Yeah.
And he's a big dude. Josh is not a little guy.
Yeah.
He's not little at all. He's big. But he gives you that each and every time.
Yeah.
And although a guy like BC has great crowd control,
Yeah.
Mr. Clean can move the crowd. Period. He can move the crowd. He can move the crowd. He makes my job easy as fuck. Let's say that.
Yeah.
You know
He
what I
ain't
mean?
Flavor Flav, is it?
Little bit. Little bit. But he got bars. He can spit.
No
too.
doubt.
You know
No
what I
doubt.
mean? So, you know. But yeah, like I was saying, man, I love great talent. And when you get great talent and hard workers, you can't beat it.
Nah.
You can't beat that. You can't. But they're hard to find. People like that are very hard to find.
Yeah.
They are.
Best show I ever saw, Papa Roach.
Really?
Yep. Believe it or not.
How so?
I mean, you're talking about the energy that Josh brings to the stage.
Mhm.
Throw in some rock and roll, and that's
Yeah.
Papa Roach, man. I saw them in Nashville at what do they call it? Riverfest, or I think it's the Crawfish Boil now, or I don't even know if they still do it anymore, but the River Stages, that's what it was called, downtown Nashville. Saw Foo Fighters there, incredible. But Papa Roach, man, I know Johnny T was there.
Yeah.
I want to say Josh might have been there too, but Papa Roach, man, it just stood out. They were not the closing act of the night. I think Paramore or T-Pain closed out. I don't remember who it was. Papa Roach was just one of the acts, not the biggest name on the poster, but not the little one at the bottom, you know?
Right.
And oh my God. I mean, it was the best show of the night. And anytime I go to a fest, if Papa Roach is playing, I want to go that day.
No doubt.
And I'm not even a huge Papa Roach fan.
Right.
I love them. I think they're great, but I'm not listening to their music very often.
Right.
But their performance, man, I mean, it stands out. It'll be one of the best you've ever seen. And it's because everybody in the band, they work the crowd. Everybody gets involved. All of them.
That's
It was
what you
amazing.
need.
And it's not a big band, but everyone is performing to their fullest. It was incredible.
I think my best show was Gym Class Heroes. Is that what is that?
Those guys were crazy.
Man, look, when dude took me, I was like, man, I don't want to see this. Man, I don't know who they are. Because I had never heard of him. But he was like, man, you man. He said, I know
Travis
you're like
McCoy.
And when I first went, I was like, man, what the fuck? The chain, man. I really hollered at girls over there hollering. I'm right there with them, like, look at this shit. I mean, it was actually tight, man. I really enjoyed myself, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, damn. And I started listening to him after that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Wish they
Gym
make
Class
some more
Heroes
music.
was the shit. What the fuck?
Yeah,
I don't
it
understand why you didn't
was.
listen before.
Yeah.
man, it's got to be something to really, that's just like a Hooper Stank. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I went and saw them and stuff, and I was mesmerizing. I started listening to Hooper Stank after that. But it's got to be something that pulls me over there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And with Gym Class Heroes and seeing they show, man, that was it. They reeled me in, but
I want to say it's a tie. It's a three-way tie between Onyx, DMX, and R. Kelly.
Oh, wow.
that ain't no fair, man. That's a different category. R. Kelly, man, that's R&B.
Onyx and DMX were on the same bill.
Yeah,
They were on the same bill. So it was in the same night. It's hard. Like like DMX, DMX is DMX, but Onyx,
yeah.
those guys are insane.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They are insane. And then there's R. Kelly.
He didn't pee on anybody, did he?
Nah, that's before he got caught.
You
That was
gotta
backstage.
you gotta look at R. Kelly from a body of work and the music, not the man.
Yeah. We just kind of,
Yeah.
it's like Michael Jackson. Just kind
Right.
of ignore who's behind the microphone and just listen.
Yeah.
But I went to the 12 play concert back in the early 90s. That was probably, well, Luther Vandross is another. You know, like he's the only concert I went to that didn't have an opening act. And did like an hour and a half by himself. Like,
Wow.
and pulled it off. You know what I'm like, Luther Vandross. But as far as like energy and things of that nature, it's gotta be between Onyx, DMX, and R. Kelly. And it's tough.
Those are some of the greats. Those are some of the best that ever did it.
Yeah, man, it's tough between those guys. Like Onyx was like, that energy was so raw and just you thought they was gonna tear down I went at the Apollo Theater too in Harlem, and you thought they was just gonna tear down the building, and then like DMX by himself, like to see that him on stage alone and still have that kind of impact on the crowd was incredible. That's some incredible energy. At least Onyx had each other to feed off of.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? DMX is just out there. Yeah, he fed off the energy of the crowd, and of course he did the prayer at the end and that whole business, and you know. But two great shows, man. Two great shows, and I don't think that Onyx are the greatest rappers that's ever done it. I am a fan of their music. I've always been a fan of Slam, Let the Boys Be Boys, and you know what I'm saying, those records and that. But Freddie and Sticky Fingers, there's like at least 300-400 guys better than them lyrically. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it real. But they're good at what they do. You know, I ain't mad at Onyx for the shit that they bring. The DMX is on so they work hard. Is what I was getting at with Onyx. They work hard. Yeah. And now they're actors. They're not even rappers anymore. Mm-hmm. Neither one of them. But I did see a video online the other day where they're thinking about doing something together again. So it could get interesting.
Now we just need Outkast to do the same thing.
Yes, man. Yes. Now that's a clear-cut example to where hard work beats talent. Because nobody was really even trying to give Outkast a chance. Being from the South when they first got into it. Talented brothers, but they had to work hard in order to get, even their label slept on it. Their label did. Because they didn't know what to do with them. You know, that's where hard work comes into play.
I think Andre is in a battle with himself.
You think?
That's why he haven't did anything. He claiming he's got writer's block and all that stuff, and he's dealing with being creative and stuff. So I think he's having an internal battle with himself where it becomes, instead of you making music just to make music, now you're more focused.
You gotta have that hit.
Yeah, you gotta.
You know what I'm saying?
You're trying to make art and stuff like that, and it's like, just make music, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But you know, Andre's always been about like being eccentric.
Yeah, right.
And you know, going outside the box and those things.
But he's on a caliber that he can make crap and it probably turn out being exquisite. You know what I'm saying, to other people. He's that good. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
But if you're approaching it from that angle, it's time to let it go.
Right.
And their shoes are way too big to fill now.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone way too long without dropping a collaboration.
Yep.
That when they do, it's gonna be, people are gonna pick it apart.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just gonna be excited that we got a new Outkast album. They're gonna be like, why isn't this the best thing I've ever heard ever?
Right.
You know,
Right.
like, yeah, it's
That's-
the memory of that new Outcast album coming out and listening to it and it being awesome and
Right.
you know all of that. Now we just it better be or don't do it.
Yep. I'm telling
Unfortunately.
you. Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree.
Well,
I agree.
that's why I say I try to get myself back in the mindset where I'm just making music.
Yeah.
And then let the artwork come from just me making music, you know, and quit trying to focus so much on it. 'Cause
Yeah.
you trying to make that one hit, one hit might not come. But
Nah.
if you make 5 records, you might have about
One hit, the two hits.
2 or 3
Yeah.
hits off in
Right.
it. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
That's why I like these bands when they drop an album, you get the album and it's got like 12 songs on it, right? And then they
Right.
come out with that deluxe album that's got like 20 songs on it. And then
And
they
only
got the
2 of 'em
B-sides
good.
album that's got like 5 on it.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's only 2 of them on the original album that are
Right.
even worth replaying over and over
Mhm.
again. But I mean, they made
that's
the
all
album,
it takes.
but you know, yeah, for financial success, you just need one.
Yeah, that's it.
Man, I
That's
bought one of my first albums, Herb album, and it was only one song I wanted on that whole album, and that's the one with Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I didn't listen to the rest of Herb album stuff. It was that Janet Jackson song. I mean, I had that joke on repeat on the record player.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, we did have records back then. Sorry.
Hey, I still got records now, man.
Absolutely.
But like, look at the guy that sang the song "Bad Day." That's like the number one hit wonder of all time.
Yep.
I'm embarrassed, I guess, to say I don't even remember his name.
No.
I had his album, but I only know that one song. I don't even know if he ever made anything else.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Right.
if he didn't, then talent-ish beat hard work-ish. I
Yeah.
guess, you know, because
Well, if
he had a banger and it's the
Yep.
biggest in that category.
Touche.
And
know
if
what I
he
mean?
did it right, he don't have to make another one.
Yeah.
And he may not. I have no idea.
Yeah, he
but that's the
probably
point.
didn't do it right. Yeah.
I mean, you got Sir Mix-a-Lot, Tone Loc, Young MC. You know what I mean? Those guys, fucking Coolio and shit. You know what I mean? Bobby McFerrin. When the last time you heard that name?
Right.
Never.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Don't Worry, Be Happy.
Oh yeah.
That guy. You know what I'm saying? Right. See, you don't even know his name.
Right. Right.
You know. So there are some that come through the cracks that's just talented
Right.
and at the right place in the right time, doing the right things for the right people. It
Right.
does happen.
Hey, and because of Coolio, we got Amish Paradise.
Yep. You out of control.
Amish Paradise.
So in the end, you rather have someone that works hard than someone that's just amazingly talented.
Oh, 100%.
How
Yeah.
so? Why is that?
Because if you don't want to do it, if you don't have the drive to do it, then you're wasting everyone's time.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like if Adele walked in the door, I'm gonna use her as a reference again. If Adele walked in the door and I was a record label and I was like, I need an angel. And Adele came in and she was just singing and I was mesmerized and I was like, you're it and I'm signing you.
Right.
And then she came into the studio in her pajamas and slept on the couch all day and just, you know, wake me up when you have something amazing. I don't want to work with that person.
Right.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you could suck, but if you come in and you can, and you're dedicated, then eventually we're going to come up with something great, you know, and
Mhm.
we can just auto tune the hell out of you and call it a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd
Mhm.
rather work with, like if you show up on set and you don't know anything, but you're there and you want to learn, then, you know, we'll learn together and we'll make something incredible. But
Right.
if you just show up and think you're the shit, I got no use for you.
Word up. Well, I believe that, you know, like I said earlier, talent can always make a way for you. You know, they say in church, your gifts will make room for you. But if you're not ready to put in that work once your gifts do what they're supposed to do for you, you know, it's a moot point. It's a moot point. I would rather have someone that's both talented and hardworking, you know, to work with all the time.
Oh, of course.
But I also know that, in life, that's not always the case. I've ran across a lot of talented individuals over my journey that, 2 years after you meet them and they're so gung-ho, 2 years later, you run into them and be like, yo, you still making it happen? Like, nah, man. Nah.
My head got too big and I had to let it go.
You know what I mean? So they're working in construction or working at a factory or doing that whole business. And then you come across these guys that, that weren't as talented. And then you run across them, they just had heart. They had a lot of heart. And then you run across them 2 years later, like, yeah, man, I made a little makeshift studio in my room. And, you know what I'm saying? Bought a couple of pieces of equipment and I'm about to put this mixtape out and I got an EP that I'm working on. And they weren't really the greatest rappers or singers or producers or whatever the case may be, but they kept going. And now their shit is decent, if not great. You know what I mean? Working at it. And then there's those people that, they just got that it factor. Hard work and talent. And they understand that, it takes a certain kind of something on the inside to put you over the top. Those are the people that I love. But if I have to make a choice, just like you, boss, just like you, Q, if I have to make a choice, give me a hard worker over talent any day.
Yep.
We want to thank y'all for checking us out. You know what I mean?
Peanut butter magic.
Absolutely. Tune in next time where our host will be Quasi. You know what I mean? Till next time. Y'all be good.
Peace.
It's the peanut butter magic show. It's the peanut butter magic.